I think we're back. Maybe. Yeah. All right. We are back. Someone put the lag switch on the account today. Who put the lag switch on? Lag switch. They're trying to take me out. All right. All right, we're good. Welcome back. The lag switch is hit. Trying to nerf me, man. They are trying to nerf me. All right, so with that said, welcome back. Press the like button again. Subscribe to the channel again. So, let's just jump right back into it. That is what happens when we don't press the like button. That's right. That's right. All right. So, ES, right? We're above 64.60. We're above 64.68, right? This little zone, right? You can see we held here end of day. We're holding here pre-market. And this is going to be the level that I think you're going to want to see a pullback and then a long out of today. That would be the best trade, I think, on the S&P today. If the market wants to stay incredibly, incredibly bullish, that would be the pullback zone to be looking for. Back to 64.68, back to 64.60, give us a pullback to that previous all-time high, and then give us a beautiful long opportunity. All right, that would be fantastic. If you fail under 64.60 today, it probably would create a little bit of downside pressure, but that really would just be a long, again, in my opinion, right here at these highs at 64.42. Right, so my two long spots today are in this zone here or down at this zone here. These would be fantastic pullback longs to be looking for today. Right, either this one or deeper at this one. So going to be watching those two spots very closely today, looking for the pullback long at those two levels. That's really it. If we don't get those and this thing just sort of rockets out of the gates, then we're going to have to start watching maybe this pre-market low here, maybe these, pre-market highs here, wherever those pre-market levels are sort of sitting at. If we're just sort of seeing just a straight up rip out of the gates, we'll have to adjust intraday. But in terms of creating a game plan to start the day, I want to create it with the major spots, and that's 64.68 to 64.60, and that's 64.42. So those are my major spots. Those are going to be my major pullback longs to be watching today. Let's go to the SPY real quick. Here on the SPY, it's pretty much the same thesis. There is a little bit of a interest at previous day high here on the SPY, which lines up pretty damn perfect with the ES, right? You can see the ES 64.68 right here. The previous all-time highs on ES at 64.68. That lines up pretty damn perfect with the SPY previous day high, right? So you can see right here, previous day high, 643, 642.85. That would be a really interesting pullback long on the SPY at previous day high. I like that idea. Below that, here is your all-time high. This is your previous all-time high, 641.57. That will be a spot to watch as well. And then below that, you got these CPI highs at 640.28. All right, so watching all of that, watching the CPI highs here at 640.28, watching the previous all-time high at 641.57, and then watching the previous day highs at 642.85. 641.57, 640.28, 642.85. Keeping eyes on all three of these spots to potentially create the pullback long today. Bam, bam, bam. All right, going to be watching those spots. If we just rip out of the gates today and go straight up, then we're going to have to be looking for maybe pullbacks to pre-market highs, all right, or, that previous day high. So All-time highs, welcome to blue sky territory. We got to see pullbacks to previous day highs. That's always the most bullish look in a, just straight up market, is where's previous day high and where's that pullback. That's really it. So on the NASDAQ futures, the previous all-time highs is right here at 23,845. So this is previous all-time high. That is our previous all-time high right there. Pullback there would be incredible if we get it. That is exactly, by the way, where you held around 11 o'clock yesterday and pushed higher, right? See this? This is your previous all-time high. Look at these holds. Bam, bam, held above previous all-time high and ripped higher. So that was perfect. That would be the best spot, the A++ spot to look for a long today, right? A+ would be bam, bam. If we get it. I don't know if you will, right? This market might just be too strong, but that would really be the key spot to look for. If you can get a pullback to 23,845, 23,800, which is that CPI high, somewhere in this zone, likely creates the best new long. So keep that on your charts. Make sure you're aware of that. It is quite, we're quite extended past that. That would be about 160 point pullback from this current point. The previous day highs is right around this 23,950. So if you want to put previous day highs on your charts, and you can also watch that, that could be a decent spot to be aware of, right? You just sort of have to know that that's not the best spot. It's a good spot. It's definitely a possible hold spot, that's for sure, right? But it's not the best spot, and I think the best spot is the 23,845. That's where I think is the best, most confident pullback long to look for, would be back to there, right? I would say anywhere between like this 920 to 950 would be the area to watch, right? Anywhere between like this 920 to 950, that's right here, right in there. Pullback long, that's an interesting area right there. Interesting, but not the best. Like I said, this is the best. Pullback long, previous all-time high. You zoom out, right? You can see this right here. You have your breakout. You have previous highs right here. You get one of these, just like that. That's ideal. Do we get it? We'll have to see. Does this market just want to stay rock solid and sort of just continue higher today? That is very possible as well, right? It's very possible that you just sort of hold PDH and just continue this rally. So watching both spots there. If we fail back under this 23,920 low right here, I think you'll probably start to see a little bit of downside pressure, which would give you that pullback to that 845 spot, right? So watching both, looking for that pullback long. QQQ, same thesis, right? Previous day high, I would say anywhere between the 580, I would say anywhere between 580, right in here. Same thesis as the NASDAQ. Previous day high, 580.35. Anywhere between that and I'd say that psychological 580 spot. That could be your first sort of pullback long to be looking for at previous day high. If you fail under 580, that's when I think you will get your previous all-time high retest. That's at 577. All right, so if you guys remember, go to the 4-hour chart. We had 577 as our major level that needed to break, right here, 577. It rejected on Monday, right? And you squeezed through it yesterday. So now, what would be the best? It would be one of these, right? One of these, and then one of those. That's A+. Because you've extended, you need a little pullback like you always do, right? Extension, pullback, long. Extension, pullback, long. All right, so you got to remember, even if we pull back under that 580 spot, this is still the most bullish, right? Downside today is potentially the most bullish thing to happen on this market. Now, I know a lot of you don't really understand that, but guess what? That's how the market works. A pullback today could be the most bullish thing for the market. I know everyone wants to see the market go straight up every day, but a pullback to previous all-time highs would be the best long opportunity and the most bullish thing to happen. Do we get it? I don't know. But that's something you should at least keep in your mind, right? Don't think that pullbacks today is bearish, because it's not. You just ripped through all-time highs. There's nothing quite bearish about a pullback back to previous all-time highs. Nothing. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're aware of that level, 577. That could be a really large opportunity in the future if we get back to it. For now, previous day high, 580s, right? NASDAQ, 950 to 920, 845 being the most bullish pullback. S&P 500, previous all-time highs, 64.68. Watch that. SPY, previous all-time highs, 641.57, right? So watching those previous all-time highs across all markets to see if opportunity arises on a pullback. Definitely. SMH ripped through 297, 298, and now clearly that is your best pullback spot, right? So here on the 4-hour chart, you have these very clear highs, 297, 298. Guess what? One of these, that's ideal. 297, 298, if you can get a little pullback long, right, at that level, right here, at these highs, 297, all-time high, 298, this would be incredible if we can get that. You can see yesterday, look at that hold over 298 afternoon. That was the all-time high right there. Look at how you held above that all-time high all afternoon right here. That just sort of kept this thing higher. Perfect. So if you get back to that level, yeah, right? That's exactly what you want, Chef. You want to flush, right? You want to, a panic flush, get the weak hands out of it, reassemble the bulls, right? The Avengers reassemble at previous all-time high, rip this thing back higher, right? That's exactly what you want. That's how the market moves higher. So let's see. Let's see if we get it. If not, we're just going to grind all day. There's one of the two options. So 297, 298, that's what I'd look for. If you do get sort of that, if the bell rings and everything starts flushing and you're like, oh boy, oh my God, you actually should be like, oh yeah, here we go, right? That's the thought process. This is exactly what I want. So keep an eye out for those. Those could be nice. Nice opportunities today. Do not panic on downside. Pay attention to where it's pulling back to. That would be really nice. 297, 298 SMH. That would be the spot. Okay. IWM, rocket fuel through 226 yesterday. What a beautiful opportunity IWM presented on that pullback to 212 and on our reclaims of 218. Remember this? All right. This is just incredible. 218, 218, 218, reclaim 218, consolidated for like a week and a half, and then eventually rip. Beautiful. Over 226 is very good for the IWM. If you get a pullback long, it's right here. 226. Previous high, previous high, previous high. Pullback long, 226. That would be the best spot to be looking for on the IWM. Targeting to the upside, these highs right here from back in January. This could actually be, this would actually turn the IWM bullish or green for the year. Technically, right, the year opened, we opened this year, it's just about, it just flipped green for the year actually. The high of this year though is 230.56. So you can see this is the height of the IWM for the 2025 year, right there. So you are coming right back into that. So you might be able to break to new highs of 2025 here if we get over 230, which could influence a pretty massive move on the IWM. That would be a very interesting move for the IWM, right? Break to new highs of the year. That could be pretty nice. So watch that. 230.56. Big watch. IWM. AMD is an incredible looking chart today. Incredible. And this is, by the way, this is exactly the chart that we had, the #1 chart that we had on our Sunday prep video. Who watched it? Who watched our Sunday prep? This is the #1 stock we looked at on our Sunday prep, and it was the inverse head and shoulder. And look at how that formed to perfection. This is incredible stuff on AMD. This is absolutely an explosive watch today. But before we get into that one, let's jump into Tesla. So Tesla, nice pullback yesterday. Possibly an advantageous one, right? You can see here on what Tesla has done. Let's go to the hourly chart. Take a look at this, right? We have this, previous major highs, 335, 338, right? Look what Tesla did yesterday. Pullback, held. That is interesting, right? Take a look at this 1 hour chart. 335, look at this hold, 335. This is your demand zone. And we talked about on Tesla yesterday on this live stream, we said you want to get pullbacks to this zone and you want to see if buyers control it. Guess what yesterday did? It pulled back to the zone, buyers controlled it. They got back above 338 to end the day. They held 335. It's exactly what you want to see, right? This is exactly what you want to see. So as long as Tesla continues to maintain this 335, 338 zone, the bulls are still in control here. And I would continue to trust it. The next upside supply is very clearly 347, 350, so you might be stuck in a little bit of a channel for now. But as long as Tesla's maintaining above these lows, and as long as the market is holding up, I would see this being another opportunity. Keep an eye on that on Tesla. Nvidia. Very interested in Nvidia today. Why is that? Logically, it doesn't make sense to me that the SMH is breaking to new all-time highs and continuing higher this morning without Nvidia having some type of an opportunity here. I would be eyes on Nvidia today. I would not take your watch off this stock today. If Nvidia gets over 184 and the SMH is squeezing to new all-time highs, I don't see why Nvidia doesn't follow. Semiconductors look very hot this morning, and this thing is just pending a explosion, in my opinion. Another massive hold yesterday at 180 demand. This is now 3 times in a row that you've seen massive holds at 180 demand. It's only a matter of time, in my opinion. All right, to me, this is just a matter of time. 184. If this thing gets above it, if it unleashes the hounds over 184, I would be eyes on, very focused on Nvidia today. Let's see. AMD. Awesome. You guys can see right here. 180s. That's your level today. If you get a move over 180, this thing might be off to the races. This pullback yesterday, incredible at our 170, 167 and the daily 20. I mean, absolutely incredible. The opportunities that you get on these pullbacks if you're focused in on the levels is just absolutely nuts. Right, look at this. Right back into our 168, 167, 170 demand. Right back into the daily 20. Reclaim, rip. Just quite incredible there on AMD yesterday. The same zone we've been watching for holds this entire week. It did it again. So if you watch this, watch 180, over 180. You're going 184, you're going 187. And you might be going... You might be going to new all-time... I don't want to say that, but it's very possible. Look at this, 187. This is a huge weekly supply, so we do need to be careful of that. But the way this is forming, if you look at this daily chart, this is a pretty wild-looking chart. This is, again, a absolutely perfect daily candle off the daily 20. Look at this. Yeah. That is really good looking. So let's see if this thing can go. This is a beautiful pullback to the daily 20, to our key demand, breaking out. If you get over 180, I don't see why this slows down, personally, unless we get a big smackdown on the market somewhere. But, yeah, top watch, 180, must watch. ARM, interested in the comeback on ARM still? ARM still a little bit sneaky here, but I think it is still holding very nicely. A little bit of an underperformance, but that is only one catalyst, 1 day away from catching up, in my opinion. So I would be watching this. 140, 140, 150. This is the zone we talked about yesterday. Guess what? It held again. Previous highs, hold, still holding. If semis catch one today, catch a bid today, which they already are, I'd say ARM can as well. 146.50 over that, 150, 152. Right, I would be watching ARM down at these lows. Big watch. MU held our 121.50 yesterday to perfection. Pretty much just rocketed over 126. So today, what are you watching? You're watching a pullback long 126. Right, our previous pullback long was 121.50. It did that. Our previous high was 126. Now it's the pullback long 126. Next level is 130. If you get over 130, it's a pullback long 130, right? And you just keep following the levels higher. So big watch 130. This is going to be a huge spot today. You get above that, and the semis are strong. MU can continue. TSM, perfect hold, 240 daily 20. You get above 247 today. Another explosive looking chart. Broadcom, best stock on the stock market. You guys know I say this all the time. This is just you just can sleep really, really good at night knowing that you own Broadcom. What a stock this is. Broadcom holding above this 310, holding above that 308 yesterday. That was our key spot. Today, if you can get a pullback, which I don't know if you will, but if you can, you're looking for it. 308, 310 zone. Turn this high and these highs into new lows right in here. That's your pullback long. So I have my alert set at that 310 on Broadcom today. Semis look extremely hot. SMH is, at the highs. Keep an eye on semis today. That might be the spot to be looking for, man. That might be what you want to just focus on, is what the semis are up to. All right. With that said, let's get into some Mag 7. Apple. Incredible hold. I'm still holding this name. I still think this looks incredible. Apple looking strong this pre-market, pushing over 230. Why am I not like the answer for me? The rationale here is, if I'm going to analyze a chart and look for a long at a key level and it holds that level for 2 days, how am I not going to long this? All right, that's pretty much the rationale here. There's really no other rationale. If I'm going to say look for a pullback long at 225, these previous highs, and you're looking at a perfect hold of 225 2 days in a row, how do I not put risk on the table, right? At that point, you're just scared to make a move. So I knew yesterday I'm long Apple. I am not going to miss out on a trade that I've been staring at for a week, and I have to have risk on, right? It's almost like you have to have risk on to me. How do you not? So for me, whether win or loss, this is the right trade to be in. 225 was our pullback long we talked about pretty much all of last week and all of this week. And look what it's done both yesterday and Monday, right? 225 hold, 225 hold. How do you not get in that, right? So very interested. I'm long. Let's see if it continues for me today. 231, if we get a break of that, you're going to 236 in my opinion. You get a break and hold over this 231. Next target's 236. I think pretty clearly. I don't really see why it would stop then. After this perfect hold there, and if you go to the daily chart, this is a 3-bar play. I'm sure you guys have heard this. People talk about this strategy. 1, 2, 3. It's a perfect hold right at that key level. So definitely looking for more today on Apple. Definitely a top watch. Amazon, sort of interesting. Needed to catch a spark. It probably will at some point if the market continues to stay strong. But for now, just sort of staying quiet on it. 220 looks good. Just needs to keep holding 220. If Amazon can start to spark out of this 220 zone, you're going 226. Meta, we talked about the potential spark on Meta yesterday after a consolidation. What did it do? It did exactly what we said. We talked about this consolidation on Meta yesterday, how it can't do this forever. It's getting super tight. If the market's bullish, Meta's going to spark, and look at this. Bam, straight up. So yesterday, Zuckerberg Day, made some money on this one yesterday. Didn't make as much as I would have wanted, but I did catch it nicely. The best I could, I guess you could say. So beautiful trade yesterday on Meta. The Zuckerberg zucked 780, 785. That's your pullback long now. Previous highs, previous highs, previous highs, pullback long. Or you just say, hey, I'm long over this level, and I'll put a stop loss below it. So 780, 785 zone. Keep an eye on that on Meta today. Very nice there. Google, what did we talk about in our Sunday prep video this weekend? What did we talk about? We talked about the pullback long, 199, 200. What did Google do this week? Right here, 199, 200. We talked about this in our Sunday prep. On Monday, you pull back to 200, you hold it. Yesterday, you continue to hold. This previous high right here, turning into lows. What does that mean? That means upside. And what has Google done? Upside. So that was a perfect call. Congrats anyone that watched that video. 203.40, 204. Previous highs here. This is your new low. Can you turn 203.40 to 204 into new lows? If so, you're going higher. All-time highs is 208. There's really nothing stopping Google here until 208. There really isn't. If you hold above 204, I don't see any reason you're not going to 208. So Definitely watching Google today. If it can continue to hold that previous day high here from Friday, you hold that, you're going higher. Big watch. Or maybe you get a gift, right? Maybe you get a gift back to 200. Either one could be nice. Oklo, we talked about Oklo yesterday on Desi TA. Not sure if I talked about it on the live stream, but we talked about the retest of this 70 previous all-time high, and look at that off 70. Nuts. What a move. Today, I have an alert over 80. Excuse me. We'll see if it gets over 80. Not really a major watch for me today, but if Oklo gets over 80, it could be nice. Palantir, nutty hold yesterday. 182 just held like a monster. Previous day lows held like a monster. There's really only one trade here. It's holds between 188 189. That's really the only trade here, right? If you can get a hold over yesterday's highs and this Friday high at 188, that's the long, right? That's it. You just, the thesis here is I'm long above Friday's highs and yesterday's highs. And I'm going to stay long until that breaks. That's really the only way to trade this. So keep an eye on those highs. 188, big spot. One of my top watches today is Hood. Why? Look at this 4-hour chart, please. This is quite incredible. Left, head, right. That's an inverse head and shoulder right there on Hood, which just created upside. You broke above these highs at 110, 112, right here, right here. What are you starting to do? You pulling back on a 4-hour. You're starting to have a 4-hour bull flag back to that level, and you're starting to curl higher. Hood is definitely a top watch today. Why? Number one, because of Bitcoin is doing exactly as we discussed. That's the 118 pullback in the daily 20. We've talked about that pretty much every day. That's IBIT right at our gap level, 67 area. Look at how it's holding. If Bitcoin stays strong today, towards that 123, and just tech stays strong as well, this is a big watch for me today on Hood. Yeah, over 118, I think you can definitely get a really big move after this nice pullback and consolidation. Watching 118 very closely on Hood today, and make sure I have an alert there. Netflix, our swing trade has been incredible. Just still holding this. Have not even thought about selling this. Still holding. September contracts. Loving every second of it. Today looks like we're going to hit our first target at around 1230, 1235. That's the daily 50. You might see some failures there. If you get over 1235 in the daily 50, I don't see why you don't go up into the 1260. So, Netflix has been an incredible trade. We longed it over 1200. We've gotten about 30 points of upside since our entry point, and I don't plan on selling this right now. Just going to continue to hold. Looks great. Microsoft might be a little bit sneaky today. I think you should be watching it. I just need a level to break. I need 533 to break on Microsoft, so waiting for that alert to hit today. But if you zoom out, this is a pretty damn nice pullback to this daily 20 and to this 521 area, and I could absolutely see Microsoft taking off again. So I would be watching 533 today. Make sure you have alerts set there. Yeah, we can get into some of these. UNH, yeah, man, I don't hate the idea. I'm going to be honest. I don't hate the contrarian idea here. Surprisingly, I am saying this, but when from a strict technical standpoint, this is technically a great spot to be thinking contrarian, my friends. So, look at this. I mean, this is the monthly chart. This is the monthly chart. MONTHLY. Monthly. That's how you spell that, right? Look at this. This is 2017 to 2020 right here. This is 3 years. That's 3 years of time right here. Look at where you pulled back to. 3 years of lows for UNH. You are back to it. The idea here is, if you want to long it, right? The idea here is you hold that low, and you're maybe you start to get resolutions on this stock, right? You're maybe a few catalysts away from this ripping back higher. Some kind of resolution, something that, maybe new CEO, new this, new that. Just the company doing things to just improve, to sort of get this this weight over its head out of the way. Can't recommend it that much, right? Because it is sort of a very contrarian idea. But in terms of technicals, it's definitely a spot. And if you maybe reclaim this daily 20, you might get juice back in this name, right? Look for a reclaim of the daily 20. I have an alert set there today. If you get back over this daily 20 today and back over this 267 spot, there is some interest to me of taking like a flyer. It's a flyer. That's really it. It has to be 267 daily 20. You reclaim that today. Could be interesting up to like the 285 to fill in this area. Good luck. That's my answer for you. Good luck. But it's interesting. Definitely. What else? Coinbase. Incredible looking formation on the 4 hour on Coinbase. Can we get this to move forward, right? Look at this. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Coinbase holding over 216.50. Bitcoin having a strong move this morning. A little bit of a, flagging action here. A little bit of flagging action here on this little hold. This could get sort of intriguing, I'd say. You do want to get it above 337.58. Above 337.58, you do have a gap to fill above on Coinbase right here. So above 337.58, you have a gap here up until around the 370s. Could get quite interesting. I'm going to put an alert there today and see if Coinbase can get above the 337.58 and the gap fill level. That will be a watch for me. All right. I think that's about it. Is BMNR over at 70 yet? It's almost over 70. Yeah, if Ethereum stays hot, right? This is an Ethereum name. Over 70. This is sort of interesting. If you want to get juicy with it, it's up to you. But over this high right here at 70, I think you probably can see some straight up juice. So I have alerts at 70. We'll see. You're gonna have to be ready for some dance. That's for sure. It's definitely not gonna be an easy trade, but worth a watch. CRWV, yeah, it's got to hold that 130 spot. We've had that there. See if it can hold that 130. You can see it failed our 140, so it's sort of just stuck in there. And then Circle did a share offering yesterday, which sort of crushed the entire move. So you're really not that interested in those. NASDAQ, ES are ripping right now. What's ripping with it? Anything? Nvidia, not quite. AMD ripping. Oh my god, AMD's at 180. Okay. Tesla holding tight, not much. Apple's looking strong here. Yeah, Apple's looking strong. Okay. All right, that's it. Hope you have a fantastic trading day. Today we will be trading with the mentorship group. So if you're in the Discord, Boom Boom Wednesday with ADR. So good luck there. If you're part of the group, then I will see you guys on the Zoom. If you guys want to join the free Key Levels webinar, that is going to be on Sunday of this week. So make sure to click the second link in the description or the link in the chat. It says free Key Levels webinar. You can sign up for that. It's free. Like I said, completely free. We're basically doing the Sunday prep video on a Zoom call with you guys to be a little bit more interactive. So it should be fun. I'm excited to do that. Make sure to register for it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic trading day. Peace and love.